Yes, let's bring you the news update for this hour. The federal government will today hold another meeting with the leadership of the National Association of Resident Doctors over a strike which has now entered the 9th day. The meeting, which is scheduled to hold at the Ministry of Labour and Employment, is aimed at persuading the doctors to put off the strike, which has crippled activities in government-owned hospitals. The association has accused the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, of not showing commitment towards the resolution of contentious issues. Amongst other things, the doctors who have been on strike since the 1st of April are asking for full payment of salary arrears of doctors who are house officers, a payment of salary arrears of its members in federal and state tertiary health institutions, upward review of hazard allowance to 50% of consolidated basic salary of all health workers, payment of the COVID-19 inducement allowance, etc. All right, joining me now to discuss this is strategy consultant Dikpo Iyewole. Dikpo, it's good to have you join me now.
Good morning, Mike.
Great. Now, the issue of doctors going on strike has been on the front burner a long time, all the while, over the years that we talk about this. But the same issues they are raising and talking about that is making them agitate and go on strike are still the same issues right now. What do you make of government and doctors not being able to be on the same page when it comes to moving the health sector forward?
Well, I believe that it's a case of insensitivity from the side of the government because, I mean, especially at a time like this where we're in the middle of a pandemic, I think it is quite irresponsible to have, for you not to be able to reach a reasonable agreement with our healthcare officers with regards to their pay and what accrues to them. Because for me, I find it quite puzzling that at a time like this, we still have issues where doctors need to go on strike to make their point. And it is quite hilarious because we have a Minister for Labour, I mean, who is a doctor, and we don't see that coming into play with regards to his experience in the field, or that the fact that he feels or he understands what they're feeling. And with the issue of house officers not being paid months of salary, that has been on the front burner for some time now, and I think it is quite unconscionable. These are people that work very long hours, they are already underpaid, now you're not even getting to pay them at all. Whereas we have a system of government where people in the legislature get to change their vehicles every 2 years with over 30 million naira, and then we're saying that we can't afford to pay doctors, the frontline workers of our own healthcare system, after the fact that we have 70% of our entire budget being allocated to healthcare, as opposed to it being 15%. So I think that these are part of the things that we keep complaining about or keep talking about, with how government is being irresponsive and how they are being irresponsible with issues.
All right, now there are several times where agreements are signed, memorandum of understanding, struck between government and unions, yet year after year, some of them are not honored. What do you think is the crux of the issue here? Is it the lack of will or the lack of resources?
It isn't. It was never signed in good faith. It's just as simple as that. Okay, I don't want to believe that there's a lack of will or there is a lack of resources. I don't believe that the resources is the problem in Nigeria, like we've always said. I believe that resources allocation, or the allocation of those resources, is a challenge that we have. And I don't believe that the lack of will should be something we're talking about with regards to paying people their due. Okay, I believe that those documents were signed in bad faith. The negotiations were done in bad faith. That is why I myself and millions of Nigerians are looking closely to see the outcome of today's meeting. Because what we've heard is that they're trying to convince doctors to go back to work. Not saying that, okay, we're trying to reach an understanding. For me, that language in itself is quite tricky. But we hope that they have a positive resolution so that the doctors can go back to work and then eventually have those promises sees with them being honored. But this is important. They are overworked. I mean, give them 5,000 naira for hazard pay. 5,000 naira. And then you to give a politician somewhere in the National Assembly 1.2 million naira for newspapers when they can always read it online. So these are some of the anomalies that we have in our system that we keep talking about, that it isn't good enough and it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Since COVID hit last year, now it's been a year since we've had COVID in Nigeria, billions of naira has been raised, billions of naira has been given in cash and in kind, and we are yet to see one world-class hospital paid for those resources. We are not seeing doctors being paid enough from those resources. So the question is, where is all the money? Where's all the money going? Okay, so you see that the problem we have isn't about the lack of resources, but the lack of allocation, proper and responsible allocation of those resources.
Okay. All right, we have to leave you here now. Thank you very much, Dipo Oyewole, for talking to us on TVC Breakfast. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, man.
Great.